All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Factual Fridays. We are gonna be going over a few videos, but the first one I found it's of a mediocre tutorial and reviews. I'm a year-long member of his. I've watched a lot of his content, and he's really good with what he does. This one caught my eye, and it's the different sides of cheating, the different ways that people try to justify it or go about it. And I mean, no matter how you want to try to go about it, it is not right. Never will be.
Even in open relationships, there's
yes, even like the whole Will Smith situation that's out there. I am sorry, but that is just a full-on simp that's just caving in to what the woman wants, no matter if he tries to say that he wants it that way too or not. No. And you cannot have a true relationship built on that.
And as monks, it's our duty to talk about the spiritual aspects of that. I'm trying to bring up some of the stuff that I found about that from a couple of people on here too. So I'll look for that while you're looking at the videos.
Yeah. We'll be going over every side, and I mean, the spiritual side it's pretty simple, okay? With the people that you are with, every single one of them that you have slept with will leave a mark on you. And so the more people you've slept with, the more marks that you're going to have, and the more that the main person that you're with is going to have to deal with too, because they're still there even after you've separated. That's why the whole body count thing is the stupidest thing, because they are the most broken and screwed up people that are out there. Don't you agree?
Yep. Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm looking at some of the stuff. So go ahead and start with your stuff, and then I have some things to share from here.
All right, we're going to start with mediocre, and we'll get it going for you guys.
So Cam Newton recently just sat down with a lovely young lady, and amongst all of their discussions in their 4.5-hour podcast, one of the things that they talked about was specific to cheating or respectable cheating. Now, this conversation interests me not only because Kevin Samuels used to talk about respectable cheating, but then also a couple of months back, Cam Newton talked about on a show with Corey Holcomb about how he used to cheat on his now current girlfriend.
Yo, shit away, but what do you mean you don't have a network?
I don't have no web of women.
I don't understand. You saying it ain't no other woman but the one woman?
Yes, but that's what I'm asking you when.
Ah, damn, see, I f***ed up. See, I lost a radio host because I put him on the spot like this, but I didn't say his name or nothing like I'm talking to you. I'm saying this is what we got to accept, Cam.
Yeah, but I'm saying, though, understanding, as long as I've been with Jazz, I'm being completely honest by saying I have been with other women while being with Jazz. At this point of my life right now, I think where me and Jazz are, she's helped me nurture me to being exclusively to her. And it comes with time, that comes with patience, that comes with uncomfortable conversations that say, hey.
See, but that's the problem. It doesn't have to. You can full on just go and commit to somebody and say, hey, I'm not going to deal with anybody else. This is just a cop-out so you can get out of it.
And then come back to the person that you were with before. It's like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to try this and I'm going to try that. And it's like, well, they weren't as good as her, so now I'm going to go back to her. And any self-respecting woman is going to be like, no, you're not going to do that, because you're going to be bringing in a bunch of sexually and spiritually transmitted diseases back into a relationship. You know, it's like every female that he's been with is now basically a spiritual sister wife to her. They will always be connected.
Yeah.
And they bring whatever their problems are with it, you know, back into the relationship.
And they do. They bring problems. Yeah. I mean, I've only been with one other girl besides you.
And that was before we were together.
That was before we were together. But it still affects you. Yeah. It's all that attachment is always there.
Babe, well, hold on. You did what? Okay, not motherfucker, let me tell. Oh, that's not the energy that she's coming with.
Of course.
She's saying, hold on. But why though?
Another reason why I wanted to talk about it is because the doctor in this young woman's name, and it made me think back to this conversation actually, that Cam Newton had with a Dr. Cheyenne in this video that I've entitled "The 41-Year-Old Dating Coach is a Fraud." What I find interesting within certain subsects of people is that they will utilize this degree of education that they earned, even if they've earned it from currently non-accredited schools, as a way to kind of posture themselves as a thought leader. Nevertheless, I did a quick Google search on this Dr. Sarah and found out that her doctorate degree is honorary. At this point, I'm going to start making some damn calls to some institutions to apply for an honorary degree so I can call myself Dr. MTR. By the way, before we get started, I just want to say that it's not that you need a degree in order to talk about things within reality. I just can't stand those that posture their degree to speak from a place of authority. I have multiple degrees, although none of y'all would know that because it's not something that I put in my title. I don't write it in my bio. I just want to come to you guys and speak with high integrity. There's bound to be some bullshit afoot, so let's get active. Without further ado,
I took it.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, let our pups do their howling.
Okay, so there's this spiritual fellow that I kind of follow on Facebook from time to time, and while some of his more recent stuff is kind of like a little bit out there, a lot of his original things, it really does ring true with a bunch of stuff that we've encountered, and it just, when you read something, and especially when you're following a spiritual path, and you read or listen to something, you can just feel or hear the truth in it, so you can resonate with it. So like this one says, the more baby daddies and mommies that you have, the more problems you'll have. And when a woman has a baby by a man, that's his way of permanently marking his territory. Men are inherently territorial, that instead of pissing on a pole to mark their territory, they finish inside of them. Men and women were never meant to separate once they conceived a child, hence why marriage was required and now a lost prerequisite in today's generation. That woman becomes permanently imprinted to that man and vice versa in the astral realm unless serious and extreme methods are employed to remove the soul tie. And I don't know that you would ever be able to wash that away.
No.
Honestly.
No.
The sperm actually stays in her spinal cerebral column for up to 18 years. This was to keep the woman physically imprinted to him long enough to raise a healthy child with both parents. Yet modern women tend to have been with various men, confusing the process, literally making her insane and unable to pair bond efficiently. She's putting blood in your spaghetti to mimic this effect, yet all you have to do is to charge your semen with intentions to have a stronger effect, as it will literally become part of her brain. Therefore, when they create a child and their body's subconscious mind think they're going to be together for the next 18 years. Thus, any man or woman who comes into their life will be perceived as an immediate threat.
Yes.
This is where the ego comes into play. If the person is perceived to be better than them by the baby mother or baby father, they will intervene and cause problems. Pettiness, childishness, and unnecessary conflicts will ensue just to make their baby mother or father's life more difficult. All this happens while ignoring the fact that it is taking a toll on the child and traumatizing them deeply. Yet they're so engulfed in their egos they won't realize this until it's too late. Therefore, if you're an upgrade from the ex-baby mother or father, expect difficult problems to ensue to make your relationship difficult. They're really hoping the problems separate you two so the baby mother or father isn't with anyone better than them. And of course, this is talking from a perspective of somebody who actually has children with other people, but that's not uncommon. You talked about Jada and Will Smith. They have multiple children, and those children have problems. That one is, I don't know if one's quite trans, but they identify as non-binary.
Yeah.
Another one wants to be in a polyamorous relationship, and she's only like 19 years old, and that's what she's aiming for, is to have a polyamorous relationship.
And you said it interesting, like with the guys finish inside to keep that tag for an 18-year period.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, think about it too. It doesn't have to have a kid set for that to happen.
No.
That bond is there as soon
Right.
as it's done. So any time after having kids that is done, it adds another 18 years each time.
Right. And it's just, and then he's saying 18, and I've heard it up to being like 20, that's more rounded out.
Yeah.
Because the whole 18-year thing, that's a Western construct.
It is.
So you're talking about 20 years or more, because, it's like, and even on the lower end of it, talk about like when they become independent, and it's like 15 years, so either way.
Regardless, it's a while.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And that's like, so that's speaking from the, if you have children, I know I've got more about cheating here. You can go ahead and.
Okay. Did you want?
Yes.
Took advantage of. Sad to say, but I'm just living in my truth. Knowing what I know, a lot of women
You're
don't
quiet.
realize. It's like, yo, do you know the difference between a man who really with you or a man that's just
End of podcast.
Yeah, most don't.
That's a bar.
And it's ego.
I have a lot of those.
Can I see.
Please.
Can I ask one question though? A personal question?
Please.
Because, and this is for me, I want clarity because I saw a clip that you did and it went viral and it was talking about relationships and you had said what you said about your relationship now and how it hasn't always been that person. And I think for me, inside of that, my mind immediately went to, well, is this really cheating or is this an arrangement? Because I think that a lot of the times people that don't understand or don't know, or they're so quick to label something. Oh, that man's a cheater, he's a cheater. Is he? Or is this something that you guys have decided and come from an empowering way where now...
Again, I'm sorry, if people keep talking about this, or is this something that you guys have worked out together? I do not see it that way in any terms of how you can say that. Like I said, when you go above and beyond in the spiritual sense of it, cheating just cannot be allowed.
A lot of people come down to saying, well, we're not designed to be monogamous. And I still question that because a good portion of the most intelligent animals are monogamous.
Yeah.
But
wolves,
birds of prey.
Yeah.
Some mammals, like what do you call them? The primates. Some primates are, some of them aren't, but some of them are. And most of that is because the ones that are not, there's like a very high infanticide rate. Like
yes, there is.
Kill the babies,
Exactly.
So,
yeah, the males will kill a lot of the babies. It's kind of crazy. Like the apes
and lions will do that.
Yeah.
And there's multiple like sexual partners.
Yes.
Them, so it's interesting.
And you're seeing that now within the human species too.
They'll ditch them or kill them or
So I mean, it's kind of goes to show you.
Yeah, there's
the mindset.
Yeah, something wrong there. But let's just for shits and giggles, let's just say that it is that we aren't supposed to be monogamous. We were given this pineal gland and higher way of thinking so that we can transcend those natural urges and everything. It's just like people that want to say that gayness and trans things, they exist in nature. Well, that's true, but so does rape and pedophilia and all kinds of other nasty things.
Exactly, it's still there.
But we rise above that. We don't do those things. That's not socially acceptable. Why should this be socially acceptable?
Exactly. Yes. Have anything?
Yeah, I'll do it after.
Okay.
She may feel like she has to respond or whatever it is, but the truth is she only feels like she has to respond because people don't know what it is.
For sure.
So
that's actually a good point.
I think that ultimately, because most men, most high value, high earning, masculine men with a lot of options at a certain time of their life will still exercise those options. That's just the reality of the situation. And also, I think that if you talk about it in an empowering way of we are grown adults and we know exactly what we're signing up for, that sounds a little bit different than, I get to do what I want to do.
Now, I've always agreed that men with options like that, extremely valuable men, will exercise their options. What I've never agreed with is the degree of cheating, right? I always thought that a man should be truthful. Now, whether or not you like it or not, this is where I am as a man. If you want to sign up for my programming, understand that these are the benefits. One of the cons or the consequences may be that I might be in someone else's bed on occasion, having just a little bit of fun, but I'm going to treat you this certain way. She don't get this special type of treatment.
High value man to me, though.
No, that's not a high value man, but see, to me, this is the bare minimal standard. This is no matter what, like the cheaters that just go on cheat and then get caught and won't say it and all this stuff is like just the scraps. They're the bottom of the bottom.
Right.
To me, this would be the bare minimal standard for if you are going to be in a relationship like that.
Yeah,
you have to say, you have to be truthful.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. There's another element to it, though. They like the sneakiness.
Yeah.
They like to have their cake and eat it too.
The gay community.
Yeah, that's
a big one.
The high risk behavior. you don't know how many people that are like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like a good majority of black guys are like what they say on the down low.
Yeah,
there's a bunch.
Yeah,
and it's like because they have this image to maintain, and yet they go around and sleep with other dudes, and it's kind of alarming the ratio from what I've understood within their community.
Like, I don't know why. I mean,
I don't either, but yeah, but it's like even just general treaters, you know, the guy up the road, you know, he talked about like how he likes to have that drama. He likes to have he likes to have women fighting over him. He likes to sneak around and stuff. And it's like, so there's that element as well. It's not just like the sexual element. They like to sneak around. They like to, the risk of getting caught and everything. And so it's like a whole different situation. So yeah, there's like, I guess what he's considering to be high value men and everything, saying that this is how it works for me, and you know, I need other people to meet my needs or whatever. Yeah, and then there's the ones that like they just like to sneak around and just be low rent about it, you know. So,
you know, it's like the high value men, for them to go around, you know, because it's kind of like the boss bitch mentality.
It is.
It's the exact same standard on both. And it's like they want to act like their work and their money is what this life is about when it's not.
Right.
This life is about procreating so that the human race can continue.
Yeah, and procreating something of quality.
Yes.
Because a lot of these people, they just go out and they're just like, they don't care what they're breeding into this world, and it's like it's bred into it through turmoil and, you know, not a divine union.
Yeah.
So the offspring that they're creating are mentally unstable, and they're not contributing to society, and they don't have a higher purpose. So it's just like NPCs. They're creating a bunch of NPCs and fillers and stuff, you know. And a lot of them have a bunch of health problems, and you know, not just mental health, but actual physical problems and everything. And it's like this thing here says the easier it is to have sex, the less they value you. And it says that sexual energy is the greatest currency we have on this earth plane. And it's the very reason you exist today. Your parents exchanged sexual energy. Thus, the energy has the power to create life and everything else in your reality. If you give your most valuable energy out for bare minimum people, they will value and respect you less. Most people are on the root chakra frequencies of lust, survival, and physicality, and thus their sexual energy is worth the bare minimum.
Yes.
So it's like all you have to do to access their sexual energy at this level is being physically attractive or have some more physical currency. But as you move up the chakra system, it gets harder and harder to access a person's sexual energy because they require more.
Yes.
You know, so it's not just the physical stimulation. No, it's like you need the emotional stimulation, the communication, mental stimulation. To me, high value men are not turned on by physical things. It's everything else. It's spiritual, intellectual, you know, what the woman can actually bring to the family table, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to some really weird stuff too with some of these more intellectual men.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, you did the industry of the phone sex operator
and then webcamming
and stuff. I mean, you've seen a lot of this.
Most of my clientele was pillars of the community. Either they were, I mean, I hate to say it, but like pastors of churches or cops or like town, what governors? Are they governors? That's I don't know if you have state, but you know, mayors, like things of that nature, and they were into some really weird shit, and I don't really quite understand that.
No,
because it's like, because then it's just false. You're not really a high value person. You just make a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And you're presenting yourself to the world as something that you're really not. You really don't have that kind of value.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's somebody who, like you, that I would consider to be the most high value, and we don't have money and we don't have influence.
No.
And we just, I mean, like, as far as the social spectrum goes, we're absolute nobodies. We're the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But you would be considered the most high value to me because of the sacrifices that you put in and your alignment, you know, the work that you put in to get to that point.
Yes, the spiritual.
Yeah.
And I've had to put a lot in because I've had my share of the run-ins.
Beat it into you.
So I mean, I had my share, but it's like once you know, you know.
And I mean, there was just things that I said, I will not deal with that. I cannot deal with that.
Yes.
It's like you choose. You choose that, or you choose me, and you made your choices.
Yes.
So, and you build off that.
And a lot of these people that do cheat, that go to do this stuff, from what I've seen, a lot of them too, they're missing the intimacy.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the woman won't cuddle, won't the things.
There's no affection, no
yes.
love, yeah, exactly. And that was another common thing that was said with my clients as well, is even if they were in married relationships, they're like, I don't feel valued, I don't feel listened to. She doesn't want to spend time with me. She doesn't. They stop being. They become mothers and they stop being wives.
Yeah.
And lovers. So it's like. We have a lot of responsibility to make sure that you guys are valued and kept happy in that department as well.
Yeah.
And like one of my son's friend's mother, she comes to my gate talking about these things and crying about stuff that she thinks that her husband or boyfriend is up to. And she's trying to tell me, she's like, oh, well, she's like, he's got no reason to complain because I'm giving it up every night. And it's like, yeah, but you're not
connected.
And she even said that. She's like, well, this is what he had to say. He's like, well, he doesn't feel loved and doesn't have any affection. And I'm like, well, he's telling you then.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, but I mean, I'm giving it up all the time, giving him everything that he wants, and he's got no reason.
But that is not what he wants.
But it's like, but there's no intimacy.
Yeah.
No connection, no higher frequency. And it's like, I feel that like a lot of our time is just spent just hanging out together, watching TV, or just like laying in silence sometimes. And that's like
when we get our talking in,
Exactly. They don't Netflix and chill, before I even know what that meant.
I know. What's Netflix and chill? You know what that means, right?
No. But it said most babies are created simply out of lust before any other higher chakra connection was established, and then the relationship turns toxic after the lust runs out and the baby is born, oftentimes before the baby's ever even born. If that person changed immediately after you got pregnant or you got her pregnant, this is a prime example of a lust bond. I mean, it is. It's everybody's just kind of operating out of lower chakra.
Yes.
Energies. And I don't feel that anybody, when you value, would ever consider cheating.
No.
I mean, because it was written, it's supposed to be one man and one woman, and you're supposed to forsake all other things and make those sacrifices, because you get a divine union that brings you so much more.
Yes.
But yeah, like, seems like the more money these people have, or the more status they have.
Yes, and that's
the weirder the shit they're into.
That's where I was popping back around with that too. Is like the boss bee mentality for the women. It's like, see, they drop off of that intimacy, and they're like, well, okay, but I'm providing for them. Well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and that's not what it's about.
Right. And that's a whole other thing too, because that does, I don't care what they say, that diminishes masculine ego.
Yeah, it does.
To the highest. And it's like, I've seen so many quote unquote stay-at-home dads become the most voracious cheaters because of that,
Yes.
The woman's making all the money, and it's like, I'm disrespected, and it's like, well, you're not. I mean, you're supposed to be respected, but I'll take that.
Exactly.
It's like,
yes.
They're throwing off the status quo with it, and they will pander to their bosses. Sometimes they'll sleep with their bosses. The women, the boss bees, and everything, and they have a collection, a gaggle of men that they'll sleep with. The nurses at the hospital. Nurses are just horrible cheaters.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I've seen them even in lesbian relationships just sleep with just about anybody you could think of just because they can. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Like, my mother was not particularly, she didn't sleep with people, but she screwed them around in other ways.
Yes.
She would lead them on, and then she would drop them off, and
yes.
Just always just kind of like a status thing.
It was.
Yeah. But yeah, it cheapens everything.
Oh yeah.
And the more people that you sleep with, the more diminished your light is, and it's like, even by design, women are meant to take that energy from you. And so it's
yes.
like, even if they think that they're just bedroom fun, you're still giving away your best part of yourself to somebody who's going to just abuse that.
Yeah, you are.
Man.
Yep.
Man.
She just gets in bubble gum. And if women sign up to this arrangement, it's not cheating because all parties know what is going on and she accepts it. Now, with those consequences also comes the benefits of his high value lifestyle, one of which she would not have access to unless she deals with some of those negative things. And I say negative because just because a man wants to have sex with multiple women does not make it negative. It all depends on the context of the situation.
You know what I mean? Just the difference between this is an arrangement or this is cheating. I don't think most people understand that because most people will never be in the top 1% of the 1%, nor date the top 1% of the 1%.
Now, to answer your question, I think this is what makes this platform a little different because I've seen you on multiple platforms and I don't think I would agree or a lot of people can see the life that I've lived.
Right.
Or can cope with like
just ego.
This, that, and the third.
It's just, you can tell.
To answer your question, I don't think this.
Okay, we're just talking, and yes, this is pure ego. These people, they think that it's not, it's not the same thing because their ego is telling them it's okay to do it instead of looking at it spiritually and trying to figure out what the gods or whatever wanted for them.
I mean, even if you don't believe in particular deities, you can't deny that there's a higher web, a higher matrix, a higher pattern, a universal truth to that there was a reason that we're supposed to transcend those vices, those base instincts. I mean, why else would they have written it? Why did the ancestors write that? Why did they say one man, one woman? Why was it just Adam and Eve and not Adam, Eve, and 1,000 other girls?
Yeah.
It's like, why was it that? For
that's exactly right.
Thousands of years, you know? And I mean, like, Henry VIII is an example of how this shit can go south real fast.
Yes.
He had his wives and then he had lovers and he ended up fat and miserable and in pain until the last of his days, even though he was one of the top 1% and when in his youth was highly desirable by any woman that ever met him.
For sure.
But he ended up with gout and sexually transmitted diseases.
Yes.
And he was just horribly miserable in his last days.
Exactly.
And shit went south real fast.
It did.
But he thought he was entitled to it because he was a king. He meets somebody on the road and he's like, I'm taking your wife and I'm going to sleep with her.
And they're expected to at that point.
Yeah. And look how he turned out,
Yes.
And it's kind of been that way with any kind of monarchy. I think Solomon was another example. He had multiple lovers and wives from different cultures. And they drug him down a dangerous path. They always said foreign women will lead you to foreign gods, and foreign gods will lead you astray. And it screwed him over. So there's throughout history you can see this cautionary tale of why it's not a good idea to sleep with multiple people, even if it is expected, even if it is something that is like part of their culture. It still brings them to the same problem.
I mean, look at Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
And right now, us as human beings, as a civilization, is going down that path even quicker than Sodom and Gomorrah did.
Yeah, we're definitely living in the times of Lot. It's like, when he goes to school, man, those kids are 13, 14 years old, and they're little nasty little fuckers, man. I mean, it's like... They're always like pretending to like have gay sex and they're making these gay jokes and
sometimes
they touch and grope and do weird things.
I mean, and just look at the not per se the LGBT community, but the community that's within that's the trans mostly.
The loud minority, as they
say.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's several of the LGBT community that we watched that.
They're normal.
They're normal.
Like they have a normal flatline mindset. They're conservative. They're like, the bedroom stuff stays in the bedroom.
But you look at the woke side of it, and you look at what they are doing.
Yeah, you got dominatrix people walking around out there at pride events.
With kids, and then they're trying to say that it's okay to have kids go to strip clubs and see cross-dressers,
right? And
drag queens reading stories to kids.
Your local library.
No,
you look at how they're dressed and the things that they represent. It's like they're not honorable people. Why would you want them reading to your kids?
They're putting some of these books in schools.
Dude.
that are just downright.
I'm glad that one's banned.
Dirty. It's like, teaching kids how to give blowjobs.
Right, and hand jobs.
Are you kidding me?
They're like, what you don't want to do is like rip your hand up and down. I forgot what the example was, but it was like right there, just right in there. Like, what the hell? Like, like treat it gently. With pictures and everything, and it's like that's like
imagine being an artist for that.
I know, right? And it's in middle school. That's not even in high school.
And I'm a firm believer that it's the parents' obligation, not even right. It's their obligation to teach their kids about it. Now, if they decide to wait till later in life to do it, that's on them.
Right.
The kids might find out other ways, and then there's going to be issues.
Yeah,
but it's on the parents. It is not on the school systems. It is not on anybody else.
If it is going to be in the school, then it's got to be in sex education class, and the parents have to agree to that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like you have to, But those books that they have banned are nasty. Like Amir has gotten them. He bought them himself, and he's read them himself and showed it to.
And he's part of the LGBT community, and he was like, "What? I would not have these in school."
I know, and it's like, what's really bad is we're talking about like 10-year-olds. A lot of the people that are in these books are like 10 years old and talking about like their first sexual experience.
Yeah,
it's like
nobody should have it at that.
No, it's like they're taking the sacredness out of it all.
Yes.
They're driving you away from that divine union, trying to make it think that it's okay
to go out and have a one night stand,
right,
or
whether it's gay or straight or whatever. It's just like not okay.
No,
but they've normalized it, and it started back when like you and I were teenagers in the early 2000s, like the MTV generation. They had all these shows. And everybody was always cheating on everybody.
Started with the real world. Started with like Big Brother, Big whatever.
Yeah, the casual. It's just casual. Just casual. It's
even
like, no such thing.
Even Survivor.
Yeah.
They've got things in there about the people that are doing stuff and hooking up.
Dude, I know they said that you get condoms in the little pack that
supplied to you because drama sells.
Because they're like, well, that's okay, and it's just like it's like not okay. It's supposed to be sacred.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to drive that away. That it's just completely normal to do that.
Because they're normalizing alcohol too, and that's what leads to it.
It's true. Anything that can take you away from any sort of divine ascension.
Yes.
They're shitting all over. Oh yeah, God.
This is an arrangement. Nor is it cheating. I think you grow with somebody. And the crazy thing, going back to what I previously said, when you're living in your truth, right? A lot of people want the benefits without also accepting the bullshit. Now, a person who may hear that may say, "Oh, so I'm okay, I'm good. I'm sorry." That you're not for me.
Yeah.
But when you cite the source of who that comment is coming from,
very true.
You're not mine either.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
The thing that I say for every man, and with having that conversation with Corey Holcomb, it allowed me to speak my truth. But I could not go into, because of the timing and how the conversation went. The reality of it is, when you're living in your truth, being able to be 100% yourself that's the flex.
Yeah.
That's the flex. Not the flex in saying I get to do whatever the fuck I want to do. The flex is being able to say, I know I fucked up.
I mean, is that your best self and 100% truthful? Is that really your best self? Is that like the highest that you can get? Just because you're able
Can you do better? Yes.
Just because you're able to speak about the things that you're going to do or want to do doesn't mean that you should do them.
Exactly.
Like there's more honor in just sticking it out and quote unquote suffering and tying yourself to it that one person, I believe.
Yes.
Because
and I mean, sleeping with several people doesn't make it experience.
No. I don't care if you're even if it's cheating or not, just sleeping with a bunch of people in general.
Again,
ruins it.
To see the other side of this, ladies and gentlemen, please look up the spiritual side of what you're doing.
Yep.
Look, we got the internet now. There's no excuse for not knowing any of this stuff. And look it up. Because the spiritual side will tell you everything you need to know. These people can talk all they want about, we have all this arranged and this works. But how really is their life going?
Yeah, right. And I mean, is it going to be like that long term?
Yes.
You know.
And is somebody going to get jealous? Because just because they say and have an arrangement doesn't mean that it's not going to get worse.
Because like for you men, it's like you're programming us. You know, it's like you're programming us, and it's like you don't know how you're going to feel after. You know, that union has come to be.
Yes.
The woman is like, she might say something going in, and then afterwards, yeah, exactly. Just think, no, this isn't for me. This isn't going to work. And now it's too late.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that I think on a mental level, an emotional level, I think that guys can get away with sleeping with people a little bit more than women can. But scientifically, it's been said that like after 5 men, and that's on the high side, a woman loses the ability to pair bond. She becomes a worse mother. She becomes a worse friend. She becomes a worse sister. She just becomes a worse person all the way around because she slept with multiple people. They have programmed her.
And you're looking at these people that have slept with 300-400 people.
Oh my God, that's like a flex now. Like that's a flex.
Like 100 a year or something. I think I've heard of some of them.
Yeah, there was a woman that was going around Europe, and she had like slept with over, I think, 300 people in a year. That's almost like one a day. But she said she did clarify that she said, well, some of that was group stuff. So, you know, it's just like there might have been 5 at one time, but that's her goal. Yeah. And then the mother found out about it, and she's like, the mother was like at first like, oh my God, what are you doing? But then she explained it to me, and she feels so empowered, and it's like, no. She doesn't. No, she doesn't. I can guarantee it. I've only ever been with one person, but even just dipping my toes into the sexual arena and just listening to people's stories and interacting with them on that level, like, you learn some shit.
You do. You really do.
You do not know how you're going to feel 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. And if it's true that you're being programmed for 18 to 20 years by the person you're sleeping with, then that makes sense, because that's like at your core level, you think I belong to that person.
Exactly.
But then you're going to go sleep with somebody else. Well, they're like, hey, I belong to him too. And that's just not the way nature goes.
Yeah.
You know?
Lions do it though.
Lions, the females only sleep with one.
Yeah.
And the male will sleep with multiple. And horses too.
Yep.
You know, the mares will sleep with one stallion. And that there's a reason that those animals fight so hard to be the only male in that group. You know, there's a reason, and then same thing with the primates that are not monogamous. They'll fight and they'll beat the crap out of their females for even thinking about leaving and going somewhere else.
Yeah,
they want to hold on.
Yeah, what was it? The monkey that we saw?
Some like baboon or something.
And, oh my God, they were vicious.
It was really entertaining. It was like there was a female just kind of like looking off to a different like little tribe, and the man.
She got whooped on.
She did. I mean, it wasn't just by her; it was by the other females too. They're like, "You're gonna fuck up our dynamic," you know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
What's it?
F
in chat.
F in chat.
Have a good when you're done with this.
Babe, before you hear this shit from somebody else,
literally,
I'm man enough to tell you. This where I'm at mentally.
Minutes.
And she does an unbelievable job by not judging the branch of the tree, but getting to the root of the tree. Because everything stems from something.
Be like an hour and a half.
And as I put my life in the forefront, I'm challenging all men to have that uncomfortable conversation with your partner.
Sheesh, yeah.
That we all like, stop the lying, bro. Stop all that bullshit ass, like that bullshit, dog.
That was just a long roundabout way to explain that he used to be a cheater and now he doesn't cheat anymore. I don't agree with what he's saying in terms of it wasn't cheating or it wasn't an arrangement, but it also sounds like to me that he's taking his experiences and trying to tell men not to follow within his footsteps. I can't stand when men talk about this, my truth shit multiplied with very unclear communication. It sounds like he's making shit up as he's talking about it because he's trying to escape the accountability of whatever it was. It's not cheating, it's growing in. I mean, let's call a spade here. Now, the caveat in there is that if he said he was respectably cheating, sort of like what Kevin said earlier, or if the woman knew what was going on.
When a man cheats on you, this is what it looks like. When he goes and buys his mistress the same size house he got you. When he goes and buys her the matching Mercedes you got. When he buys her the same shoes and the same bag and the same everything else, then he's cheating.
Okay, but this all again comes down to money.
Yep.
It's superficial things.
That's root chakra bullshit.
Yeah.
You know? And this guy that was just before that saying, well, you need to stop all of that, you know, and you know, and say, you know, no, I'm sorry, but
yeah, well, you do.
They're the bullshit.
You need to stop the lying.
Right.
Lying should not be in a relationship, regardless.
You've got to change that mindset.
Yes.
It's like, I don't care. It will ruin you.
Yes.
In the end, I don't know of anybody that it's ever really worked out for.
No. I mean, like I said, just look at Will Smith and his wife. I mean, they are not happy.
And they've ruined their children.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them is like a freaking anorexic.
Yeah.
He's so skinny. He looks like he belongs in a third world country. I mean, he is so skinny and he's so just screwed up in the head.
I know.
And then, like I said, the girl wants to have a polyamorous relationship before she's even had a real relationship.
Just like her mother.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they're nasty because it was like what the grandmother taught Jada how to self-pleasure herself, you know?
There was
like,
a whole podcast
weird.
thing on it, and it was like just disgusting.
It is disgusting. That's horrible. Let me share this with you real quick then. Okay, so you can't have healthy families without healthy unions. The root of a family is two people coming together to create a child. This is how you start a whole generation from those two people. Yet if those two people aren't in a healthy union, then what they will pass down will be broken families and generational curses. The majority of human beings have lost the ability to simply pair bond with the opposite sex. They hold so much subconscious hate, fear, resentment, and anger toward the opposite sex, which makes them they can't even maintain a healthy relationship longer than 6 months. This inherited general curse then creates a whole race of deadbeat single mothers, rebellious masculine women, and feminine men who don't want to uphold their responsibilities. If you're not able to have a healthy relationship with the opposite sex, it is because you're suffering a generational curse you haven't healed yet. And if you still haven't done the proper healing, because fantasizing, hoping, wishing, thinking about, and talking about the divine family structure isn't enough, you need to be an actual example of it if you want to change the way things are going. You have to learn how to properly choose a lover who's ideal for even creating a family with.
Yes.
This is about like creating a family. The divine union between the divine masculine and divine feminine sets an example for the world to follow to create a healthy family blueprint. It starts with divine union. They create the divine family, then others are inspired by them to do the same. Now we have a divine community, and then we have a divine nation, and eventually a divine world that brings heaven on earth. But like we were saying, they like taken that and they're purposely driving a wedge in there and saying it's totally normal to go and sleep with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I know.
Cheating or not, it's like it's totally normal to go sleep with a bunch of people.
And it's ridiculous.
And it's like nobody guards that. They talk about women, they kind of talk to girls about like guarding their wombs and making sure that the right person comes to them. They don't ever talk to the boys about divine, you know, guarding their programming stick, you know, the god rod. You know, it's like no, they don't talk about that. They're like, no, it's totally fine. You can go sleep with a bunch of people and you'll be fine.
The end rod.
And it just, you know,
it'll spiritually fall off if you're not careful.
Right? Exactly.
Spirits.
Do you know like how many of my clients were suffering from erectile dysfunction?
Oh, I'm sure a lot.
You know, and it's like, you know, I can't help you with that. What I liked is when the wife would get involved, you know, and I would talk to them both, and then they would come to me, and then all of a sudden they would stop. And I would just assume that now they've fixed their problems and they've come together and
that's good.
They fixed it. That was like my favorite thing. But yeah, the sneakiness is like a whole nother thing too.
Yeah.
And that's like an addictive, it's like, you know how humans are.
Yeah.
They're fall into addictive personalities, and you know they think that something's exciting, exhilarating, and so they cling to that. And you know, and I remember like in the early days when I was doing webcamming and everything, it screwed up my mind. You know, I can't trust. It's hard for me to trust because of the things that I've heard and everything. And I even came to you and I said, well, if I'm not enough to satisfy you, then you need to let me know. And, you know, that way we can talk about that sort of thing.
Exactly.
And it's like, I wouldn't ever dare think about that now because I understand my divine value. But because root chakra like living, you know, that's just the way that I thought that's how it is. It's like, I'm never going to be enough to satisfy you.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a problem. Because
Right.
once you get that talk in your head, it's hard to clear it.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, this just how it's are. It's like, I can't win. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, you've got to stop that sort of thinking.
You do.
And understand your spiritual value. Because there is no better pleasure. It's like, I don't care what they say. There's just no better pleasure. You know, I have nothing to base it on. I've only ever been with you, but I cannot imagine that. I can't imagine there anything being any more satisfying.
Exactly.
You know? It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't imagine that cheating is any better than what we have as a divine union. You know, it just can't be.
I wouldn't want it. So.
Cheating. But until then, unless you get another high value man to replace the one you got, what do you think the pragmatic smart move would be?
Yeah, don't bring it up if you don't want to deal with it, I guess.
And if you do bring it up, if he looks you dead in your face and say, yeah, I'm fucking my secretary, then what?
Oh, I can't imagine somebody saying that to me. I don't think he'd be that cold.
Y'all just don't get it.
Anyway, I want to see a response.
Because when you have these conversations with the fellas, there is a meme or something that Mike Epps said in a stand-up comedy. He's like, that don't act like that. Like, but for me, I act like that around my partner.
Mm-hmm.
She knows that. And this is not something that I act when I need other people to witness it. The thing that is the biggest flex is like, we go on dates, we go out, we do life together, and I'm able to be myself. I ask her about her, she asked me about me, and we throw it all out there. And of course, there are some things that I've said to her that hurt her feelings.
Of course.
But in return, she says some things that hurt my feelings.
Of course.
The flex is we're able to go to bed at night.
Yeah.
And we cuddle.
Yeah.
We talk.
Yes.
We wake up in the morning. I smoke my cigar. I have my espresso. She eats her croissant. She drinks her smoothie. And we're able to communicate.
Yeah.
That right there is something that's easily said, but not always implemented.
And I think the problem is because men have been groomed to lie based off of their experiences with women. And this isn't to give anybody an out, because I do have, you know, I speak a lot to the men and accountability for women, but let's call a spade a spade. The truth is, Cam, if you were honest from the beginning, and I've only ever been in monogamous relationships, right? So I don't know. But if my man were to come to me, because I've never been in a relationship for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I can't speak from an experience I've never had, but so often people try to do that. So if my man came to me and said, baby, you know what? I want to try something different. The truth is, I don't know what my answer would be. However, the level of respect that I have for that man, that we can have a conversation and be like, okay, this is what it looks like. Because a lot of women think they're in monogamous relationships, but their men just keep it hidden. And so I feel like in a huge way, and that is the point, that men and women need to communicate about the desires of their heart. And then I can powerfully choose you, or I can powerfully let you go. But so often we get into these spaces where it's like, oh no, well, my man would never, your man probably is. My girl would never, oh, your girl probably already did. You know, and so I think that it's important to have that conversation, because it's like, and this is my honest truth is, I think cheating is weak. I think cheating is weak, and I say that because you're bold enough to make this action that you're hiding around, and you're deceitful, and you got to be sneaky, but you're not bold enough to tell your partner.
Surprisingly, I do not disagree with her, like at all. This is conversation is not going exactly how I thought it was going to go with that honorary doctorate degree, but I agree. I've always said that I think that as a masculine man, you need to operate with integrity, and if by definition, if you're sticking in another woman and the woman that you're in a relationship with doesn't know about it.
Just think how sweet it would be if you could talk to your girl for real. Do you know the harmony that might be able to come from that? But you didn't pick a girl you could talk to for real. You picked a girl that you're willing to act for as long as you can keep her. That's what most people are in that situation.
But I think that part of the issue is that, listen, as human beings, we always just work off a system of incentivizations. Men are incentivized to have multiple women, especially earlier or younger within their life. Again, if they deprioritize peace, because the more women around, the less peace you're going to have.
Mhm.
That's a fact. But having multitudes of women, while those same women do not mess with other men, typically within history, that is resolved for kings, princes, sultans, and the like, meaning the highest degree of men with money, power, wealth, and status.
And it doesn't work out for them, as we were just talking about. It does not work out. Like, with the kings and everything else, it's never truly worked out. Now, again, money is ego. And you're running off of an egocentric way if you are in a position of power, if you are, if you have all this stuff that you're just trying to give to the women. That's not the true love connection that you need. It's all egocentrical, and it will not last.
I mean, like I said, Henry VIII was like a very prime example
Yeah.
of like where that kind of thinking will get you. I mean, you're
Look at the main,
giving away pieces of yourself every time.
and the main girl he loved, what happened?
Cut her head off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like he loved her so much that he ended up hating her,
Yeah.
because even with her, he was cheating on his current wife with her, so
Yep.
it was not a divine union in that way, so they already entered into that in unstable
They
grounds, and so it didn't work out for her, it didn't work out for him, and then he did it again and again and again until he ended up a wreck, and it's not just him. I mean,
He never got a son, correct?
I think he did, but they died, so it's like he was punished for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so even whether they're kings, princes, rich people, CEOs, whatever, pillars of the community, you're just giving away the best parts of yourself to people
Exactly.
who are not worthy. And it's like the whole point is to ascend higher than that and build a world with one partner. I've got another good one here, but I want you to get a little farther in this video.
Yeah, because we're...
So they'll go out and do that. But I still think that it's low integrity.
Now, an arrangement, like I said, if you know exactly what it is, or you know exactly what to expect, that is completely different from a deceitful act. It's not the act of a man having sex with another woman that women care about. Why is the first question that a woman asks after she's cheated on, well, do you love her? Because it's not about the physical act. We know that men don't care about most of the women that they smash anyway. It's not realistic to even say that. So I feel like women don't care about the act.
See, okay, that's the biggest problem right there. If she is associating that most men, when they go and just have a fling, have a thing, they're just going and getting it wet, sticking it in, doing what they're doing, that's supposed to be with love, that's supposed to be with anything else. All that is lust.
Right.
It's full on lust.
And it still has the same repercussions.
Yes.
And it's like they say that, well, women they understand that there's like nothing attached to that. That's just like not true though.
Yeah.
Because I understand, as do many other people of higher thinking understand, that you're giving away something that's supposed to be sacred to somebody else.
Yeah.
So it is the act.
Yeah.
And it's like the lying just makes it worse.
Oh yeah, and those men aren't going into it for a relationship.
Right.
They're doing the fling thing. They're lusting.
Right.
And so these women that are trying to say, well, yeah, that's just how men are. That's not true, because what they're looking at is the lust.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing that she's saying is like they understand that they don't care about those women. And then it's okay because it's not about the sexual act. That doesn't bother them, but it should.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I mean, so to me, in some kind of ways, it's worse. If there's no love behind it.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. Is too many men are going for lust, thinking that that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I've never.
And that's not what it's about. It's about going in and finding the union of two people that connect.
Yeah. But it's become so normalized that that's just what men do.
Yeah.
And we just have to deal with it.
They go out and they have to, they have to go stick it in everything possible. And then
you're not being safe with your emotions. You're not being safe with your spirituality. You're not being safe with your physical stuff. It's like they're like, well, just wear a condom. It's like these people with open relations, just wear a condom. Don't bring me back any diseases. you're bringing back demons.
Yeah, you are.
You know?
And I mean, that's just it. For the people that believe that Christianity or anything like that, I mean, lust is full on the devil.
Yeah, that's
It's
one of the
full
main
on
things.
just this, this presence. It's only going to cause chaos in your life.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman allowing your man to do this, then you're allowing the devil to come in and run your home.
Right. It's like, and you cannot sit there and tell me that it doesn't affect you. That it doesn't have some bearing on what's happening with your life. It just can't. You will never convince me. It's like I want to sit there and I want to study those people and like you said, really see how their life is going.
Yes.
Not just today, but 10 years from now. And, while they're laying there on their damn deathbed, I want to know, like, how did your life really go?
Yeah.
It's like, were you able to sit there and, I mean, yeah, with all your money, all your status and everything, well, at least I can say that I've had one person.
Yeah.
And only one person. And because of that, I haven't had the mental problems or the emotional problems or the spiritual problems, and I can only ascend higher because of it.
Yes.
This shit you can't rise past that. It's just all root chakra shit. It's just you can't get
exactly.
It sticks you there, and then you can't get any better.
Yes.
And you might think it's great. They might think it's great, but it's like it could have been so much better.
And I got so lucky to find you and pursue you the way that I did because, like I said, I had one other one that was just toxic to no end. She cheated on me, kept cheating on me. I was looking the other way. I was just the one, oh, well. But, I eventually got tired of it, said no more.
And I was friends with her. And I mean, at the time, I just I supported her in that.
Yeah.
It was like, I didn't support that she was cheating, but I didn't say anything either. And it was kind of like, well, I guess, I was kind of a man hater back then too. So it was like, you probably had it coming anyway. And then she was trying to tell me that, that you're clingy and you're suffocating her and everything. But then when she's around you, she's the one that's like literally clinging to you.
Yeah, she
trying
did.
to walk down the freaking driveway. You guys look like you're trying to do that 3-legged race thing, and it's like, she's shit, dude. I'm like, she was literally clingy. And she's not in good health. She's had to have a kidney transplant. She's got gray hairs like you wouldn't believe. She's put on a lot of weight. She looks like she's 50 when she's younger than we are.
Yep.
And it's like, do you see what you've done?
Yeah. And it's like my self-esteem was in the gutters.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid, unfortunately, that's just how I was. I mean, you are the one that truly brought me up and made me realize my worth.
Yeah, I mean, it was like
and that took time still.
Yeah, we still had ups and downs and things like we dealt with like the pornography thing and everything, and I still that comes back around too, because that in its own is some kind of form of cheating as well.
Yes.
And there's also cheating when you're drinking or when you're taking drugs. That's another form of cheating as well. Anything that takes you out of the game and makes you think that you're skipping a step.
Exactly.
That's cheating. It's like you're supposed to be in it. You're supposed to
commit,
work through the harshest parts of it because you were rewarded so much more.
Exactly.
And, it's like I finally came to that conclusion. It's like you can choose. Choose. Like I think Jordan Peterson says, choose your sacrifice. What's it going to be? It's like, where do you want to go with this? And you chose. And it's like
I stuck it out, and I made sure that I only got better.
And I learned my own self-worth, and I understood that, the divine union thing. And it's like, no, guys don't have to do that.
Yes.
And girls don't have to do that. We don't have to sleep with a bunch of people to gain experience. We don't have to do that.
I know, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard,
I know. It's like,
but the boss bee mentality is taught all that.
Well, it's true, because even when I was with you the first time, I asked them, like, well, you've done this before, right? Because I wanted you to have experience. And if for some reason it scared me that if you didn't. And it was like, instead of just learning together, which we still ended up doing because your experience was obviously not that experiential. Then, I mean, but that's what they teach you. They want you got to gain experience. It's like, no, the hell you don't. The gods will teach you what to do, and
for sure
you'll get rewarded for that. And it's like we can talk until we turn blue to people about this, and they won't believe it because society has taught them that it's okay.
And it's not.
to sleep with a bunch of people.
It's not.
No.
Act, they care about the feeling.
Her point here goes exactly to what Kevin was saying. Like, yeah, you put eggplant in her, but did you give her the assets, the money, the resources, the time that you give me?
They care about the deceit. They care about the lies.
See, again, just what we talked about. The ego is a downright dangerous thing.
I hear that and it's like, that doesn't mean anything.
No.
You know, like, it doesn't mean anything. Shit. I don't care. I wouldn't. Oh my god. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if like the person you were sleeping with, you gave nothing to, and you gave me a mansion.
Exactly.
I wouldn't care. You know, I'd rather live in a freaking hole in a cave.
Yeah.
And have you completely to myself and share that kind of a bond than live in comfort and know that you were sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
doesn't matter.
And if men would just take accountability and keep it a buck with how and who they are, then it would be a different ballgame. And I do think that that's a conversation that needs to happen more often. And I don't know why there's so much shame wrapped around humans being human. It is what it, in my personal opinion.
But we're all living a lie.
I rebuke that.
Not we're all, but there's people who are living a lie.
Absolutely. Look on
like,
Instagram.
Come on, bro.
Open the app.
Like it's all power couple goals, this, that, and the third. But it's like, bro, nigga, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, tell her what you really doing for that other person.
Yes.
Or, sis, tell him
about your work husband.
Come on.
You gotta tell him.
Texting, because cheating comes in many different shapes, forms, and sizes.
Agreed.
And it don't always have to deal or do with the physical act of sex.
I agree.
So you said something real quick, and I have to move on. We are 40 minutes into this first sector.
Oh, wow.
But we're starting a conversation that needs to be had.
Yeah.
In my situation, I never went into or never had a conversation to say, like, I want to try something new. That's not what it is. We started off like, this is who I am.
Oh, okay. Well then,
this is my triggers. This is what makes me weak. This is my negative. If we're looking at this in a very, let's say, tangible way, when we're on eHarmony, tell me something good about you.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say, what is something bad about you? Blah, 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 blah.
Well, yeah. And again, if this was something that I was knowing in the beginning that is not cheating, it's an arrangement. You have an arrangement to be poly while she does not. There's nothing wrong with saying that.
Have those type of conversations.
Important.
So it's not about me doing certain things that she's not aware of. It's when we started this journey together. We made the oath to each other. Promised.
Like he brought up the word poly, and I thought of like the poly, not necessarily polyamorous, but polymonogamous. What is it? Poly, you know, the freaking sister wives.
Polygamous.
You know,
Yeah.
so they that didn't work out either. You
No,
know,
they got.
it's like,
I was hoping it would too, because I was hoping that they actually did find ways to work around it.
because the religion does dictate.
Yeah,
that. It's
but
like,
it still shows that the human nature cannot get past that.
yeah, there's a reason, and it's like you saw the jealousy between the wives
Yeah.
all the time, and it was like, yeah, they could put it aside.
That's what stopped them.
Yeah,
That jealousy will eat you alive.
the new wife.
Yes.
You know, it's like he's spending more time with her than he is with us, and
Yeah.
he favors her kids more than he favors ours. You know, and like there was a couple that didn't even want wives walking through their part of the house because they couldn't stand them. But
Yeah.
they're like, for our religion, we're supposed to, like, you know, we're supposed to get past that jealousy. We're supposed to ascend higher. And so I thought, since they were coming from a religious perspective, a higher way of thinking, then maybe they would fake it, and that didn't even work out.
No.
He ended up with only one of them.
Yeah.
Only one.
The most recent one that he was with.
Yeah.
And it's the one that they all got jealous of because he started spending more time with her.
Yeah. So.
But he wouldn't admit it.
No.
He wouldn't come out and just say, "Okay, you're right."
and
it killed her. Because that's all she wanted.
That was bait and switch on the highest.
Because all she wanted was to have that family connection.
Right.
Have the kids raised in that, like how they were before her.
Right.
And he screwed that over.
Yeah.
And got them all separated.
Yeah, and look at one of the kids from one of the other wives killed himself.
Yeah.
You know, and look at how his ego became during that point. You know, he was like all of a sudden he's dressing differently and talking differently, and we're gonna move here and we're gonna do this and we're gonna buy this property and we're gonna, you know.
I know.
And he's just changed, you know. So it's another example of even.
It is.
With a higher purpose behind it, it's just not working. It's not. So even these arrangements, even though it's not quote unquote cheating, it's still you're not doing it the way that it was intended.
Yes.
You know, it's like you're supposed to push that stuff aside and make it work together with one person, no matter how hard you think that's going to be.
Exactly.
I guarantee once you commit to that, it is not that hard.
I know.
You know, it's not that hard, and you are rewarded so much more.
You really are.
I don't care what kind of devious sex acts they think they do that brings them so much pleasure. It is nothing compared to what you will get from a divine union.
Yes.
It's like I hear about these women who say it was like, well, I've been with my husband so long and I've never had a true orgasm, you know, and it's like that's just horrible for you.
It is.
You know, it's like,
because that is what brings that true connection, that completion to you.
Divine
yes.
Lotus, you know, it's like Lotus prayers, and they will never get that.
No.
Because they've spread it here and they spread it there instead of letting it build up to give to one person.
Yes.
I don't know, and I guess to each their own, but if they ever want to ascend higher in this life or the next, or actually achieve true satisfaction, they're never going to have that, you know?
No, they're not.
Just to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, the whole truth, so help me God. There's a thing that I feel that triggers me in a relationship. Don't spoon feed me information. Knowing who I am, you know what the I want to know.
Yeah.
If you went out with your girls, cool. How was that?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. Oh man, you know, she did this and she did that. Yeah, but you're keeping out that it was a man or men with y'all. That's what the fuck I'm asking.
Period.
Don't sit up here and leave that out.
Right.
And a lot of times women do spoon feed information, which makes them just as guilty.
But it's because of the fragility of the ego.
Fragility word just flew. What the fuck is fragility?
It's when it's fragile.
Okay.
So if something is fragile, you have to be mindful of how you deal with it, especially if you're dealing with a high earning, high value masculine man.
But if you're trying to keep it a buck,
you can keep it a buck, but we have to do it. I'm telling you, because Cam, my experience and my now is high value, high earning masculine man. I cannot.
Why you not married then?
Not be like, baby, I was out with some dudes and we all like, I probably wouldn't say it like that. I would probably say it in a way that I know that you want to digest, but you know, it's if you speaking from.
Okay, this gets me because then that is lying.
This is what you do from a prostitute's perspective. If you want to keep your client happy and if you want to keep that, like, if you're not serious in this relationship, that's the kind of stuff you do. You know, but if it is somebody that you're supposed to be married to or you're supposed to be in a committed relationship with, it's like that's never going to work out long term.
No, it won't.
But yeah, absolutely. The whole spoon feeding and trickling of information, that's a game. That's part of the game. And the game is only reserved for prostitutes and people in casual relationships.
Exactly.
So yeah, you'll never achieve that higher union.
I mean, look at Mediocre. Look at his look.
Yeah, he's like very doubtful of that, you know.
From a man's perspective, but I'm a woman, so it's different.
Okay, there it is, folks. Took us a little bit longer than I thought to understand the bullshit, but it is odd work for me. From one side of the coin to ride for integrity between both people within the relationship, but then also said that, well, I have to say things to you a certain type of way, not because it is the truth, but because of your fragile ass male ego. I often find that women will enter themselves into conversations that they know from the outside looking in it is bad. And they proceed to tell you that, well, I didn't want to say anything because of how it might be perceived. Meanwhile, it's going to be perceived exactly how it is.
And guys turn around and do the same thing to women, and they say, well, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I didn't want you to have to worry about it.
That's how I was for the longest time.
And women, they hate that. They wouldn't want that put on them.
Yes.
But then, like, they're going to turn around and do the same thing in return and expect that it's different because it's a guy receiving the information.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, no, be truthful, blunt, and, like, straightforward.
Yeah, that's about the only way that you can do it.
Yeah.
Don't sugarcoat the bullshit.
Right, exactly.
How about you take accountability for the situation that you have placed yourself in with the people that you placed it with and do better?
A woman's power is to protect her body.
Yes.
In this day and age, a man's power is to protect his pockets.
Yes.
Understand that. So I say that because there's a situation that happened, right? Where she says, babe, I was on a girls trip. We went on the yacht.
Yeah.
And everybody around, some of us had partners, some of us was married, some of us had boyfriends, and some of us didn't.
Yeah.
And there were men involved.
Okay.
And flat out, whether it was her who said it or somebody who said it, my nigga ain't going for this.
Yeah.
So y'all either gonna have to leave.
This is a perfect example.
Because my situation, we tell each other everything.
It's a perfect situation.
I don't want nobody to take a picture. I don't want to be on somebody's story, and I'm gonna have to explain.
So, and the thing is that it's turned up times 10 for him because someone take a picture of her and then all of a sudden it's in the blogs the next day, you know, because there's no privacy at this stage of notoriety. But what he said is 1,000% valid. Somebody knows how this is perceived and it's not perceived as well. Because you know, what are you guys getting invited on the yacht just to have a good time? No, someone's trying to you. But you're blaming my male ego as to why you do not tell me the truth, the complete and utter truth, because of my perceived insecurities off of the reality of what it is.
Yes.
One of the two is going to have both ways. If they're supplying the good time, it's nothing for the man to supply the same thing. Meaning, if they're paying for that yacht, if you're dealing with a high value, high functioning man, how much does the yacht cost? Here, that's how much it is. Eliminate that gray area because if I find out and you don't tell me, then that's where the trouble lies.
I agree.
So for me, if that's our relationship where we throw everything out there, it's not about, in the words of Charleston White, when you're speaking the truth, you cannot care how it comes off.
May I?
Please.
I do think one thing though, and this is outside looking in, this is just an opinion. It does not make me right.
Here we go.
But I do think that from what I'm new to like the whole conversations that you've been having, like the newer conversations. I've been watching the newer conversations. The one thing that I do think is, even though it's the truth, there's a way to tell it. And what I mean by that is, I would love to see.
Okay, the truth is simple, and the truth only has one version. Spinning it is what she's talking about, and that is falsifying. You know, putting words in it, making it sound like, oh, it wasn't as bad as it really was.
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting is what she's talking about.
Yeah, it's like the truth. Like you said, that's the best way to put it. The truth is simple.
Simple.
It's like it is what it is, and
I'm sure Mediocre's about to say something to that effect himself. He's pretty good about that.
I mean, you can have a way to try to finesse it with your words and everything, but if it's the truth and it's hurtful, then it's going to come out hurtful no matter how you try to say it, you know. So
exactly.
I've got two good ones here to share at the end.
Okay.
I screenshotted them this time because I just lost them.
More of a protection around y'all as a unit. Also. And why I say that is because if she's responding, does she feel protected? Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%.
Okay.
But this is what I tell her, baby. It's too many going on out here. And we locked in.
Yeah.
You know we locked in. I'm locked in with you. I'm in love with you. So for me to have to explain to the masses something that they don't even know or they don't even want to know,
right?
Why the fuck is that even important? My thing is exposing the fuck shit.
Yeah.
And by saying, hold on, bro. I can have this conversation.
Yeah.
And I can go back home and I have another conversation and we still are locked in even more.
Yeah.
I don't gotta lie.
I agree.
I don't have to perpetrate this
know.
lifestyle of something. And when I say cheating, when I say other women,
this is my thing though. It's like I just don't care what these women say. It's like how can you then go to bed with them and know that they've been with somebody else and not have it running through your head? Are they thinking about that person? Are they comparing me to that person? How do I rank next to that person?
It's high powered men and women. We're not talking about a love relationship.
I mean, he said love. He's I'm locked in, I'm in love.
Yeah, but what you're more talking about is the women are in it for the money.
And the security.
Yeah,
right.
They're not in it for the love. So to them, whatever, as long as I'm getting what was owed to me,
then we're good.
I mean, that's the only way that you can see that being without them getting the jealousy factor if they actually love the person.
I was like, that's what I've never been able to wrap my head around that. I would always be wondering those things.
Yes.
And it's like even in my insecurities with you I still wonder those things. It's like, not so much now, but like when I was still coming away from webcamming and everything, and hearing all these things the guys said all the time, it was like, I mean, I just thought there's just no way that, I could satisfy you 100%. And that was always writing in my mind. It's like, are you comparing me? Are you, are you thinking of somebody else? That's so, it's like, I've never been able to get my head around that with these people.
Well, yeah, like I said, you just got to know, I mean, the only way is it's not love.
Anyway, okay, so what about the guys then? Like, would guys still be thinking the same thing? I mean, would they be thinking, is she thinking of somebody else? Is she comparing me to that person? How do they get their head around
They still do, because, I mean, there's fights within that matter. I know when to truly say that they love them, there is fights within that you will, if you watch them long enough, you will see.
Because masculinity is definitely driven more by ego.
Yes.
Which is okay as long as it's pure.
But the guy's like, well, I'm doing stuff. And so usually that kind of puts a higher line on it to where they can't say as much.
Right. They just kind of know, they have more confidence.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, well, I'm, the shit.
And I mean, like the way this guy's talking, I mean, he sounds like he's full on confident. He loves her, but they're allowing this, which I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, this is more of a thing about open relationships than it is with cheating for sure. Like they call it arrangements, but it's like, yeah, I just like I couldn't get my head around that.
No.
That would bring up so much insecurity for me, even if it was an arrangement. I would always be thinking about that.
And those girls, I guarantee you are.
They're just confident in the fact that they're getting what they need out of it, getting the bag, as they say, getting their money, getting their security,
pretty much.
Getting the house, getting the car.
They're shallow.
Yeah.
They care more about money.
Strip away the money and see how this works. Strip away the money and go live out in
a
cave and see how
any
this
of these
works.
ones that are doing this, if you take the money aspect out to where they won't even give the person a second glance.
Yeah,
reality. I mean, that's what people have to understand. I mean, that's reality.
And the more money, the more of the deviant behaviors.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the whole Diddy parties.
Oh, I know.
Those are all like.
And I mean, so many good names are being dragged into this now, to where you're like, well, great.
Yeah, I know. It's like I don't even want to know about it. And it's like and just, I mean, it's just nasty. But yeah, more money, the more they have to have like this sexual stimulation from really like devious places,
exactly.
Underage people, same-sex stuff, group things.
I know.
His little freak offs that he had, where you had to be like have like IVs and stuff afterwards because they were so freaking depleted and exhausted. It's like, what the hell is that? That's not the way this is supposed
demons.
to be.
That's demons, full on.
Women. This ain't something that always is happening actively.
Mm-hmm.
We've been together going on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when those certain questions are asked, I'm talking about over the span of 5 years.
Yeah.
And she knows everything, just like I know everything. It's too much. Okay, I'm going to choose this and deal with that and not, don't tell me that. Because this is what I mean when I go back to the statement I said, you want the benefits, but you don't want the bullshit. You want the Birkin bag, you want the Cartier love bracelet, you want the house, you want the car, you want this. But when I need you, when I'm coming to you in a vulnerable state to say, babe, I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy with you.
Right.
I'm not happy with how business is going right now.
Yeah.
This is what triggers me. Okay, my trigger may be different than Cam, than Sam, than Dan, or Donald.
Right.
Because for Cam, it may be sex. For Donald, it may be domestic violence.
Right.
For Sam, it may be alcoholism. For Donald or Dan, it may be drug abuse. So, bullshit, benefits. You don't get to pick up the baggage that you want. You have to say, what's your, what you said, staying power? Staying power.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to have you as a hostage.
Yeah.
More so than a volunteer.
Right.
Because I'm volunteering to be with you daily. I don't want you to be no hostage where it's like, man, he gonna do this or he gonna, I gotta stay because no. That's not that. Because if you want to ask yourself this ain't no new way of living. That's what people are so
My last live only got one view.
delusion about.
The delusion
This
is real.
shit been happening for years.
Yeah.
Uncles, aunties,
Yeah.
dads, granddads, like everybody has always dealt with temptation.
Yeah.
And that's where I asked,
3 minutes.
have you been able to have that ecosystem? Because for me, I've learned with certain things, a lot of people can't cope with my lifestyle.
Most will never understand.
Okay with it?
To even know that they can or not.
But even to that point, when I get triggered, when I go through certain situations, bro, I'm coming to you like, dog, I'm hurting right now. I'm weak. I can't go to my women because of this. Because even though she's so submissive, even though she's so strong, even though she has so much insight, even though she has a way of calming me in ways that it does feel like a drug, there's certain things that I say to myself and I'm like, all right, I got a place of refuge.
I wanted to let that play for a little bit just so I can fully understand the thoughts that he was trying to convey. And what I interpreted from it is that he's trying to describe just women selecting based off of benefit as well as selecting based off of the consequences. Just like we talked about before. And within that certain men are going to have different needs and or expectations of them. One of his needs or expectations, from what I can gather, is that he wants to understand the situations that she puts herself in for the perception of, with another man around. He communicates that in a very unclear manner. And honestly, I think most people wouldn't interpret it the same exact way. But I will say, though, is that in terms of his prior conversation with the other doctor, in comparison to her, she is coming about it while also disagreeing. She's disagreeing in a very respectful manner. So within that, I really appreciate this back and forth in comparison to the back and forth with the other lovely young lady. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up the conversation right now, but I want to know from you guys down in the comment box, is there such thing as cheating? Is there such thing as respectable cheating? Do you ride the way that I think about these different things, or do you have another definition for it? Leave it down in the comment box down below. So I want to see your guys' thoughts. I'm actually thinking about doing another video, maybe live stream, where we can go through some of these topics, as well as go through the audience interaction of how you guys feel about it. But questions, comments, concerns,
That's
gotta be know what to do. Me over to tourismreviews@gmail.com. Leave me them comments down below, and I will see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.
It's like, I guess, like,
there's his email address.
Like, to each their own, but like, that's all I have to say is just with my spiritual knowledge is that they will never have the satisfaction or the pleasure that you have if you just stick to one person.
Exactly.
And being committed to that one cause together.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, if it works for them, it works for them, but it just very rarely find out that it doesn't really work for them.
Yeah, it won't most generally work. It's not going to work out the same way. It's not going to work out anywhere near what you would think.
No, you're not going to ascend very high, and you're not going to get the rewards in life that you could get if you know.
Exactly. And I want to give a thank you to Mediocre for all this great footage.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That we used for ours too, because that was a great talking point for my Friday one, and I'll be making sure that he sees this to let him know my views on what he talked about.
Because I mean, just the way that I'm seeing it is, somebody comes to their woman and they're like, well, these are my weaknesses and this is what I need from you. I need to have relations outside of our relationship, you know. It's just like you're just finding somebody that's not going to hold your feet to the flame. You're just finding somebody who's just going to allow you to continue to fall into a vice that's inevitably that's going to stunt you. You know, instead of having somebody say, no, I'm not going to put up with that with you. You know, what can I do to make you feel better about just being with me? You know, what has to happen there?
And what can I do to better yourself?
Right.
To make you want to better yourself.
Right. Because that's just letting somebody fall into their vices. That's like letting somebody be an alcoholic or a drug addict.
Yeah, that's letting somebody get behind the wheel drunk.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
it's like, it's not going. I mean, if you know,
would any of you do that? I mean, it's that simple.
It's damaging.
Yes.
You know, so you know it's damaging behavior. Why would you seek out somebody who's just going to let you do that? You know, I don't feel that. Yeah, I don't feel that that's a good thing. But,
so,
you know.
All right, I've got 7 types of cheaters. It's only like 4 minutes long. And then, did you want to go over your? You said you had 2 things to go over.
I can do it at the end, or I can do it now.
I want to do it now, because that way we'll just roll into my end credits.
Okay. All right, so this one's a little uncomfortable, but it's the truth. So,
okay.
Mostly I'm saying this because Guru is here and it's a little advanced, but you know, listen or don't. I don't know.
It's good. Headphones on.
It's good to know either way. All right, so your semen contains the power to create life. It is literally the seed that impregnates the feminine to amplify its genetics by reproduction. The same motivation your sperm has to compete with all the other sperms to impregnate the feminine is the same motivation you should have in achieving your goals. Yet the more that you ejaculate this precious essence, the more your desire to achieve your goals diminishes. Your semen contains your greatest nutrients and energy because it's designed to be passed on to your offspring. You are literally passing on the greatest parts of you to another life form. Thus, when you ejaculate frequently, you lose your vital essence. Your motivation, masculinity, and willpower grows weaker and weaker until eventually you're okay with being a feminine man. Your desire to provide, protect, and lead the feminine diminishes completely. You're okay with driving a woman's car, living in a woman's house, abandoning your kids, etc. The elite want you to ejaculate as much as possible because you're easier to control when you ejaculate. That's why we see what we see within mainstream media saying it's okay to do this, you know?
Yeah.
You are more submissive and less rebellious because you don't even have energy to rebel. You become a slave to the elite's agenda because you're a slave to lust. It's their weapon to control men. There's a reason why porn is 80% of the internet and it's free. The more promiscuous a society becomes, the weaker men become. The more men have access to sexual content or sexual partners, the less masculine they become. We live in a highly sexualized society. It's 10 times more sexualized than our ancestors, thus men are now 10 times weaker. You have OnlyFans, Twitter, the XXX, I don't know about Twitter, women posting thirst traps, porn, etc. that you now have to dodge, when it used to be just magazines or DVDs. In order to restore your divine masculinity, you must preserve your precious seed with even more discipline now. You must avoid all succubuses keeping you trapped in your lower self. And like I said, all women are designed to take that from you.
Yes.
So if you're just sleeping with people, even if just casually.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're stuck in a pattern.
Right. Let your semen power you up and give you life, and only ejaculate your seed when you're intending to have a baby. Weak men are ruled by lust, and they aren't respected by their women or other masculine men. It said you could have conquered the world by now, but you're too busy trying to conquer that last drop of lotion out of the bottle. You're addicted to post-nut clarity without the energy to act on the clarity because all the energy is gone. It talks about like how you could have been rich, you could have been wealthy. Don't be mad at women for being masculine. Be mad at yourself for netting your masculinity out, making them compensate for it by becoming more masculine.
Yeah.
A woman will always use and devour a weak man who is caught in her lust trap. She will drain your energy until there's nothing left. There's a little bit more there. There was one that was really good where it ended. It says you deserve to not be ruled by flesh, by spirit. You want to be ruled by spirit, not flesh.
Yes.
Let me find the other one here. Okay, the more casual sex, the shorter you'll live. Sexual energy is life force energy, which means it gives you life. You came from an orgasm that propelled the masculine's energy into the feminine's creation center. Thus, you're simply an evolved sex cell of the masculine and feminine energies. Due to sexual energy being the main basis on which you were created, it is responsible for the amount of life that remains in you. Casual sex is a low vibratory way of having sex with no real connection or love or commitment. Thus, it is a parasitic form of sex that actually drains your sexual energy down to the root chakra. Entities are able to feed off your sexual energy, which leaves you depleted. 15 minutes of clap, 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 smack, smack. Smack is not worth sacrificing your lifespan. You only have a set amount of sexual energy that governs your lifespan, and when this is depleted, you die. And I mean, there's other ways to die too. I mean, there's how many men do you know that are about the age of 40 that are just like shells, like giving up? You know, just
for sure.
Go through the motions. You don't have to be dead to be dead. You know. Yeah. The more casual sex partners you have, the more entities that become attached to you and drains the sexual energy faster and faster. Sexual energy powers up your immune system, and the more depleted you become, the weaker your immune system becomes, which makes it easier to catch diseases and manifest health issues. Porn is also another doorway to that these entities use to feed off your sexual energy. The dark elites that rule the world know this, and thus they manipulate humanity into lust frequencies by promoting porn, casual sex, and lustful content. This is because the dark elite actually work for the lower astral entities. In order to live the longest lifespan and actually begin to maintain or even reverse your age, you need to learn how to preserve and generate more sexual energy. And the best way to do that is through a divine union where a woman is going to actually give it back to you, you know.
Yeah, in exchange. With the lotus, you keep it going.
Exactly. The greatest currency that exists is your sexual energy because it's the only energy that actually gives life. Money can't buy you more life. Thus, your sexual energy is more valuable than anything that exists on this earth plane. Like we kept talking about, they just keep talking about money and high value being associated with things and stuff and big houses and cars and all that. And it's like, that is not why we're supposed to be having sex.
Exactly.
Sexual energy is the only creative energy that exists on this plane. You cannot create anything without it. Everything on this realm is designed to steal your sexual energy because everything wants to live. Entities without the ability to generate their own sexual energy become parasites to other sexual energies so that they can live. Yeah, like the people who created OnlyFans and stuff.
Yep.
Sexual alchemy is the only way to generate sexual energy, and you need a physical body to perform it. This is why the entities desire to control the physical dimension so they can have life on higher dimensions. Similar to the way a tree's roots must go into the ground, lower dimensions, so they can have life and produce fruit on the surface, higher dimensions. Sexual alchemy is the process that allows you to convert your root chakra energy into crown chakra energy. Your sexual energy is only accessible by these entities if it's in the root chakra for long periods of time. That is why once you learn how to raise your sexual energy to the root and to the crown, you'll be able to convert hell into heaven on earth by awakening your divine masculine or feminine, and this is what the dark elite fear the most. So it makes sense because they are always promoting that casual sex lifestyle.
Yes.
And it gets worse when you start talking about like the LGBT, you know, like all of that. That's like way out there.
Yes, for sure.
So you deserve to protect your sexual energy. You deserve to transmute your root chakra energy. You deserve to manifest heaven on earth. All glory be to the Most High. Smile and give thanks.
Always give thanks.
Yeah, there was one, like I said, you deserve not to be ruled by flesh.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like the main thing that
it is. I mean, that's very true.
And people who are cheaters and everything, they just have like a really low, they're like what I call low rent. you know? So, yeah, that's what I found tonight.
All right, let's go on to this 7 types of cheaters and we'll end it there.
Sounds good.
7 types of cheaters. Can you believe there's 7 different types of cheaters? I've written about it, and now I'm going to share that with you. Stay tuned.
I know.
He's trying to sell us something.
7 types of cheaters. People cheat for different reasons, whether they're men or women. Okay? People cheat. Now, if you're someone who's been cheated on, let me say this to you. It's not your fault.
It
You didn't
could be.
cause it.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
You allowed it.
It's about them. But let me give you 7 different types of cheaters. Now, I've been working with cheaters for over 30 years.
Is that why you're talking
Okay.
like this?
This is the kind of guy that panders to like women and does say, well, it's not your fault. You know, it's about them. It's not about you.
Yes.
When we all must take accountability for that, sometimes it is their fault. You know?
It very well could be.
You allow it to happen. You turn
Yes.
a blind eye to it, or you're not checking in. And
I mean, you have to at least take accountability for your part in it.
right.
Like, you might have allowed it, like you said, allow it to go on too long.
Mm-hmm.
After you knew about it, you turned the blind eye. You didn't want to admit to it.
Yeah.
There's always something, and you need to know your part in everything.
And you do have to be active in making sure that your partner is sexually gratified. Too.
Yes.
It's like you can't just drop off and
Just be like, oh no, I'm not touching you anymore. I'm not doing anything, and you're staying married to me. So.
Right, because that happens so much. I mean,
And it's like, well, what do you expect the guy's gonna do then?
right.
He's gonna get fulfilled one way or the other.
Right. It's like you have to be, have to be committed. You
Yes.
have to submit. You have to be a part of that.
Yes.
It's something that just stops. Like I was saying, a lot of women, especially after they have babies, they become mothers and they stop being lovers. So,
Yeah.
So
And you don't have to.
No,
you find time. No matter what people say, well, I'm too tired. You find time to have that connection still.
I know. Yeah, that's the funniest thing to me. It was like. They're like, oh, well, we can't do it anymore. We can't even be intimate in any way, like even just hanging out, because since the kids are born, there's just no time. I'm like, when we were teenagers, we found a way to sneak around and hide it from our parents.
Yeah.
So what's the difference now?
No.
You find time, you make time.
Oh yeah, you can always make time.
I'm like, that's like always the biggest cop out.
And if you're watching this and need some help, ladies and gentlemen, send us a message on Facebook or whatever. We'll be glad to see what we can help you with.
Yeah, sexual alchemy. It's a really cool thing. It can elevate your life. It can bring you abundance. It can bring you peace more than anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it.
So let me go through this. Number 1, the hunter cheater. The hunter cheater is actually, they get off on kind of finding the prey, whether that's a weak, low self-esteem, woman, or a president of a company who's a man and a woman wants to go after him, or whatever it is. They are hunting, and they have kind of a profile that they hunt for, and they cheat as a game, okay? No, it doesn't make sense, but I'm just letting you know. The hero nice guy or woman, this is the person who likes to come into the other person's life, rescue them, help them, be wonderful, be the nice guy or the nice girl, and seducing them along the way. And so then they actually are intentionally moving towards cheating, but they do it from a hero place, and they even leave those relationships as the hero. I need to go be, a good husband or a good wife. I'm a good person. I can't do this anymore. So the hero cheater's its own brand. The next is the wounded cheater. This is the guy or gal who sits in the bar or complains about their life, and they're looking almost for the hero cheater.
Again, what comes to mind on this one is Steve Carell.
Yeah.
With Ryan Gosling on. Yeah.
I've been cuckolded.
They're looking for someone to come in and help them and rescue them and pull them out of their pain or their addictions or their drinking or whatever it is. And they're actually seducing that other person as part of the process. And cheating is part of the exchange. Now, the opportunist cheater, okay, this is different. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter what size, what color, sometimes not even the gender. It doesn't matter. As long as there's an opportunity, they're wanting to cheat, okay? And so this one's a little hard to understand because there's no matrix. It could be a girl at Burger King. It could be the vice president of a company, and that could all be in the same week, okay? So there's no matrix for the opportunist. It's just, wow, there's some energy. Let's use it. Let's capitalize on it. Let's cheat. The professional cheater, this is the person who wants paid services only. Whether it's a man or woman, they want the confidentiality. They want to feel safe. They want to cheat, but they want to make sure it's not going to impact their whole life. So they tend to go the professional version, or This is someone who maybe struggles with intimacy anorexia or doesn't know how to have a relationship really, but they want sex. So professionals provide a great outlet for that. And so that's the professional cheater. The fetish cheater is someone who is looking for a very particular fetish act. And they will only cheat as it relates to the specific fetish that they're involved with, okay? Now, lastly is someone who has a sex addiction who is acting out of their addiction.
It's kind of a different.
Okay, they might start with porn, but now they got into strip clubs, or they got into prostitutes, or they got into going to bars and seeing what they can find, but they are acting in a very addictive way, okay? Now, this might be the first time you've watched one of our videos. I want you to click and subscribe because we got lots of helpful videos.
That did not help at all.
Okay, and if you have
sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that one was just kind of.
It didn't really hit the mark.
Experienced.
I guess all I have to say is, it's an act of faith as well. You know, it's like I would have no real way of knowing if you were cheating on me or not. If you were going to do it, you were going to do it. But I have the faith that, just like other things in our past, if you were, it's going to come to light.
Yeah, the gods will make it known. And they have for me, not with cheating, but with other things.
Yeah, like I said, there's all kinds of ways to cheat. And it's like anything that takes you out of like doing the spiritual path and just like trying to take those shortcuts, that's cheating. You know,
you have to come a long way and you have to be better as a person, and just don't cheat. I mean, do it for yourself above all else.
That's the other thing. It's an act of faith. And like I said, there's no way for me to ever really know. But what I do know is that I won't do that. And I'm not doing that. And it's like you can be like completely righteous. And when you're standing on that righteous platform, then you have all the power.
You do.
So it's like if we're both doing that, if we're both in that same position, if you're living the most righteously.
Yep.
I mean, because you have no way of really knowing if I was cheating on you or not. But if you're standing on a righteous platform and saying, I'm not going to do that, then we can only build,
exactly.
We can only go up from there.
Yes.
So, so it is definitely like a faith-based thing.
Exactly. And I mean, it's going off of that and knowing, keeping conversations up with your partner.
Yeah. Like, don't be like,
hang out a couple of times at least a week.
I think Jordan Peterson said it. It's like if you're living together and you're in a marriage, then you should be meeting for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Once a week to kind of just talk about everything that needs to happen within the household and what the expectations are.
Exactly.
And then just on a smaller scale, just talking, how are you? That's the main thing. How are you feeling today?
Yep. Daily. That should be done daily.
That little sentence put me in the top 10% even when I was working with webcamming. How are you doing today? Because freaking women don't ask that of their men, and it's like, when your man comes home from work, don't be just bombarding him with everything that went wrong with you. It's like, how was your day? That's the main thing. Just like words will take you so far.
Oh, they will. They will for sure.
And you do the same thing. We both wake up in the morning and it's like, what can I do to make your life easier?
Yes.
And then you'll do the same thing. I say, how was your day? It's like now again, we're both rushing to get to that before the other one does. And so it's a positive thing.
Yeah, for sure it is. Yes.
It's like, don't be naive either. It's like if there's signs.
Yeah, know the signs still.
And have your bound, just have the line that can't be crossed. It's like, I will not deal with that.
Exactly.
You must choose.
And then stick to it.
Stick to it. Don't be like, well, I don't really want to lose him though.
Yeah, no, you have to stick to it. Kick him out. Make him go do other things to earn your trust back.
Yeah, like for us, you spent about 18 months being homeless and finding out what it was like to live a different life away from me and everything.
It took a while.
Same
but
thing for me. I had to learn to live without you, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't pleasant. I hated every minute of it. And come back together.
But it was needed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good one though.
Okay, let me get
good deal.
You're a cheater, and so until next time.
Yeah, I'm going to the special thanks. I had to get rid of that guy's stuff.
That wasn't helpful.
My special thanks, everybody. Whoop, whoop. Didn't add mediocre to this one though, because he gave us the content.
Oh.
But just know you're there, mediocre. Thank you.
Who's the first one that
Yep.
It's just like, maybe balance.
Guy. No. I was just thinking.
Leviticus.
Okay. Yeah, here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This was a nice long one, an hour and 45 minutes. So that was good. I like the content. I'm going to try to get Mediocre to see this and go over it too, because it's about what I think of it, what he was doing. So, and I would love Mediocre to do a phone conference with you on one of the lives. I'm going to try to be there for one.
Yeah.
Your content's great.
Because we also use StreamYard, so we
Yeah.
use the same program.
And also, ladies and gentlemen, I've got the next tier up on StreamYard now. So we're going to be working some new things in and maybe doing like a couple of contents. Like Sancho, I know we want to do stuff with you.
No, we're going to have about 10 guests.
So let's get together and get this done. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste.
Don't be a cheater. Don't cheat in any way.
Yes, don't cheat.
Just be righteous.
The righteous shepherd.
It's worth it.